Hi everybody, Coach Allison back with your week 4 Defy Aging. This week we're going to do one big circuit together of 5 exercises, perhaps 6 now off the top of my head, I'm not sure. You're going to go through that for 3 rounds, the standard rotation style. Each round is timed a little differently. Round 1 is 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Round 2 is 40 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And round 3 is a kind of a little quickie, 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off. After we complete the circuit, then you're all going to be in your own space, completing 3 different exercises at your own pace on your own. And those are going to all be for 12 reps. So you'll be counting 12 reps for 3 rounds. And after that, your routine is done. All right, let's go over our exercises. Okay, exercise 1 is a single arm overhead march in place. So I want you to try to use a kettlebell for this. Your coach will go over the proper way to hold a kettlebell when it is up in the air. So you'll notice I have the top curve of the bar, the kettlebell kind of resting in the crook of my pointer finger and my thumb. And I have my wrist nice and straight. What we don't want to do is have a bent wrist like this. I think it's more comfortable to do a loose grip. You can certainly hold a full grip if you'd like. If this isn't working for you for any reason, you can definitely do this with a dumbbell. So we have the kettlebell or the dumbbell up overhead. You want to lock that bicep close to the ear. So notice how I'm not having the arm way out here. So straighten this arm, bicep close to the ear. And we're going to march high knees in place. A lot of balance here, as you can imagine. So we're working on a lot of stability, strengthening in the shoulder, core, balance, all that good stuff. Halfway through the set, of course, we'll switch sides. Okay. All right, that's all our single arm overhead march in place. Exercise 1 is an overhead thing. Station 2, medicine ball side to side slams. Got our medicine ball, the kind that will bounce back up for us. I'm going to slam it on one side. Notice how I'm getting a little pivot with my opposite foot to help my range of motion. So one side, then you want to do a big arc and go up and overhead. Other side. Get some good power and momentum with that. So let that swing overhead act as the momentum to come down nice and hard. And that's our side to side slam. Next station is a pull apart. Now this is a back and a rear delt exercise. So we're going to grab the band in the middle, well, I guess it wouldn't have to be in the middle, but you want your hands kind of close together because we want this to be a tight kind of close. We don't want the arms to come way out here for this. So hands close together, elbows out. We pull, bringing it close to the upper chest right here. As we do that, your elbows draw back, and you can kind of see how I'm getting a slight arch in my low back to help me kind of draw back and squeeze into those shoulder blades. So every time you do this, you should feel the muscles, it's hard to point, like right there, squeezing together. Again, you want a heavier band for this, and you don't want to hold too wide because we're not looking for an arm extension like this. It's called a pull apart, so you're trying to pull it apart. Next exercise is a weighted glute bridge. So you have a dumbbell, placing it on your hips. Okay, you're going to hold on to it because if you don't, it's going to roll up to your face. So rest that comfortably on the hips, and we do a glute bridge. So we lift the hips up, squeezing into those glute and hamstring muscles. Keep your feet flat on the floor. Sometimes we're tempted to kind of lift the heels. So we want to press even pressure on the 4 corners of each foot. And yeah, pick a challenging weight so you can really get those glutes to help lift. For anyone who is unable to do floor exercises, let me raise this. We're going to change it to a kettlebell deadlift, which if you've been with us for a while, you're familiar. Your coach can review it with you as well, but keeping that back nice and flat. So watch out for a rounded back, hinging at the hip, letting the weight come down. So that is your alternative for the weighted glute bridge. Next exercise, bicep curls. Not going to reinvent the wheel here. Kind of a standard curl. I'll let your coach, however, decide if they want to switch up each round, maybe hammer curls, maybe kind of narrow palms up for something called a wide curl. Anyway, so I just showed you some varieties. We'll let your coach decide how they want to destroy your biceps this week. Anyway, one thing, no matter what style you're doing though, we want to make sure we're coming down with control and coming all the way down. So first thing, I'm not stopping it like here. Second thing, I'm not swinging it back behind. So we do a controlled stop at the bottom, and we get a full arm stretch at the bottom as well. The last exercise in the circuit is a high plank jack or a toe tap. So a high plank refers to being on your hands instead of your elbows. I'm going to show you how to do it on an incline, and then I'll show you a way to go to make it a little harder if you would like. So hands on any sort of inclined surface, the lower it is, the harder it becomes. And the jack is jumping the feet like so. You can opt for a toe tap, which keeps at least one foot on the floor at all times, where as opposed to jumping, where your feet are both lifting up the floor. And if you'd like to make it a little bit harder on yourself, if you are so inclined, hands down on the floor. So one thing we want to look out for, though, is the hips and the butt, right? So we don't want the butt way up here like this. So we want to be in a nice diagonal plank form. So watch out for the hips kind of pushing up like that. It's our plank jack or toe tap. Okay, there's a vacuum on, so sorry about that. Now, this is the 3 things you're going to do in your own space after the circuit is completed. So this one, you're going to count 12 reps for everything. We're going to do a clamshell, then a reverse clamshell, then a chest press. You can be on the floor for all of this, so nice little floor time. Okay, clamshell. Laying on your side, rest your head in your hands, bend your knees 90 degrees, kind of feel position, and we keep the feet glued together, but lift the top leg. But you only lift as high as you can until you feel like you have to tilt to lift higher. We don't want that rocking tilt. So that is the clamshell. Now you do 12 of those, then you can go right into the reverse on the same side. You don't have to keep flip-flopping sides. So I do 12 of these. Now a reverse clamshell is, instead of keeping the feet glued together, I'm going to keep the knees glued together. So knees are together, and I'm lifting that top leg. I know it looks and it does feel a little strange too. Okay, so 12 of those. Again, make sure you're not lifting the knee off at all. Make sure you're super glued together. Okay, and then you'll just roll over and do 12 of each on the other side. Now, for anyone unable to get to the floor, don't worry, we've got you. An alternative for the first one, the clamshell, is going to be with a mini band. So you can sit on something to do this part if you'd like. Want this down low at the ankles. And we're going to do a lateral leg lift with a mini band. So you would do 12 of those. And then if you're doing the standing option, you can go right to 12 on the other side because we don't need the mini band for the other thing. Okay. And then the alternative for the reverse clamshell is kind of strange, but it does have the exact same effect. You can lift the knee, so you can hold on to something for balance if you like. We keep the knee as still as possible, and we bring the foot out to the side. It's a very strange feel here in the hip. You might want to use a mirror for this because sometimes we bring our leg out too far, but if you can watch your knee in a mirror to make sure it's staying in the same spot, so then you can do 12 of each side for that. Okay, so those were the 2 options for the floor or the standing version for the clamshell and reverse clamshell. And then the third exercise, 12 reps still, is a standard chest press, nothing fancy. We've done these a lot. Arms, elbows on the floor, palms turned forward, dip the elbows down just a little. As you can see, my elbows aren't straight out to the side. Press up. Exhale on the way up. And drive your shoulder blades down into the floor as you press. That helps stabilize. Put the weights down like this. If you are avoiding the floor, your option for that will be an incline or a wall push-up. So you would do 12 of these as opposed to getting onto the floor with dumbbells. So a lot of ifs and ands, this or that with those last 3, but that will all be 12 reps in your own space for 3 sets. And that's it. That is our week 4 Defy Aging. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you back for week 5.